So the answer is no.
I don't believe that increase any safety issues.
Again, here's another question. Have you considered lessening the rules might cause a personal liability for yourself?
Well, I don't believe that it really does lessen the requirements, because we still have a minimum spacing, and we're still gonna look at the location of each driveway for adequate site distance and for safe installation of that driveway.
And you understand that you are increasing your personal liability exposure by not having a written policy versus giving yourself the authority to make a decision.
Well, there's requirements in the driveway ordinance. There's some allowances for things that are very minimal departing from the requirements, but no, I don't intend to approve any driveways that I think are not safe.
Let's answer the questions. Thank you.
Do you have more?
I do have questions for the commissioners, yes.
Okay, let me ask, does anyone else want to make a public comment?
I'm almost finished.
Oh, it's okay, I'm just seeing if anybody else is going to be interested. Anyone else going to be making a public comment? You did not have to sign up. If you want to make a public comment, this will be your opportunity to do so. All right, does not look like anyone else will be, so go ahead, Ms. Schneider.
Again, this goes to the commissioners. I am concerned that this document has been rushed and has not had the proper review by appropriate professionals that puts our community at risk and causes liability for the county. Did any of you inquire with an engineering firm or an attorney about possible impacts of this, negative impacts?
I have not.
No, did not.
I'm asking that you take another hard look at this document and not approve it today. And Commissioner Weinheimer, I'm a very black and white person, and I like rules, if you haven't noticed. And I'm hoping that you all take this into consideration, the questions and the concerns that we have raised today. And that you take this back and have the appropriate professionals look at it for approval and look at the entire document. I mean, to say on number 3 on page 11 that it was there before, if you read this, it makes no sense. A logical, intelligent person reading is gonna go, what did that just say? These are things, if you're going to revise a document in the best public interest, you should look at the entire document, not pick and choose. That's our concern, that this was rushed, that it wasn't appropriately reviewed by the appropriate people. Again, I'm asking that you hold this and take it back for more revisions. Thank you.
Anyone else want to make a public comment? All right, hearing none, it is 10:12 a.m. Let's close the public hearing. We're going to reconvene our open meeting of the Commissioners Court. We'll move to item number 10, which is consider approval and adoption of proposed amendments to the county's right-of-way regulations. I do have one specific question. Ms. Schneider and Mr. Knightsky and Ms. Robach, y'all signed up for number 10 also. Do you want to make additional comments? Okay, all right, thank you. Alyssa, I have one comment or one question on, it's 3.02L, the one that talks about the TIA requirements. So is your intent that it would be, if it's over 100, it would require one? Or in addition to that, if you had concerns, if it was maybe below that threshold, but you had concerns that you could then also require one? Is that the way that that's intended to read, or is that the way it's intended to work, I guess?
Yes, the intent is that if the development results in 100 or more peak hour trips, or it creates a potential safety hazard to public traffic, then we can require that traffic impact analysis. So I changed the word, it was originally generates 100 or more peak hour trips, and I changed that to results in to help clarify that a bit. because there are developments that utilize existing drives and they're expanded. So where a driveway already exists, it may be serving an existing development plus now the new development. So I wanted to make sure we captured both the existing trips and the proposed trips. So if there were 50 existing trips already used on the driveway, the development comes in, they only themselves increase it by 50. That driveway is now over 100 and should be looked at a little bit closer. So in that scenario if it's done in such a way that it could create a public safety hazard. So either one of those situations would trigger a TIA in that case.
So it says the TIA may be required. Has it always been may, or did it used to say shall?
So yes, the very first sentence in that is a TIA worksheet. That is separate than a TIA study. So a worksheet is basically a single page document that shows the proposed development, how many trips it generates, what the peak hour rates of that are. So that's what the worksheet is. And then further down, there is the study that would be required after that 100 peak hour trips and over the potential safety hazard is determined. So there wasn't any language regarding the potential safety hazard part of that. And so it says the CIA may be required if there is either of those circumstances. So yeah, it would be required really in either of those cases. Sometimes I don't mind taking that HL if we need to, but if there's some sort of circumstance where we would, such as coming into an agreement with that developer to widen the road and add turn lanes without the study, then that gives us a little bit of flexibility. But yeah, generally the intent is to require the TIA for those improvements, unless the developer and the Commissioners Court come to some agreement on road improvements prior to that.
I don't know about the rest of the court, but my preference would be to have it state that it shall be required in either of those circumstances. And then we could do, if there was some agreement, developer county agreement, that we could essentially approve that by variance, I would think, to exclude them from the TIA. The way that it's written right now, I'm afraid that you're going to have developers that are going to fight and argue that the TIA is not required or that it's discretionary and shouldn't be required. And so that's just my thoughts on that particular section and the way that it's written. I think I understand what you're trying to accomplish. I think maybe we can redraft that sentence to make it more clear that it's, particularly the 100 trips would trigger, or the resulting 100. Which I understand your rationale about trying to combine, previous trips with any future that may use the same access. So I think that's a good change because it captures, the existing use plus the future use. But and then, the portion about if it's determined by the county engineer that there's a potential public safety hazard. I still think it could be a shall, because once you make that determination, then, you want to be able to compel the TIA. And I just don't want there to be any questions, that we have to make some finding or make some determination that it should be required in those circumstances. So it would still give you the discretion, on different less than 100 trips or any other circumstances where you think that there's a potential hazard. Would give you that discretion to make that determination, and then the TIA would be triggered at that point. And I think we could, per agreement, if we needed to vary that, we could, if it made sense to do so at that time. That's just I don't know about the rest of the court. That's my thoughts on that section. This was published in the newspaper, just confirming.
Yes. This was published on April 20th.
The notice for the public hearing.
So Melissa, on the fifth item that you have on your summary update here, it's right-of-way permit must be approved prior to the assignment of the 911 address. So I know there's a lot of residential individuals that will, they inherit some property and then they decide they want to build a home on it. And they're accessing that property, and a lot of times they'll need an address for that for construction before they even determine where the driveway is going to be. So I'm just, to me, some of this stuff, when you really think about the rural aspect of our county, it seems like that will be a bit of a challenge if we push that to the point to where you have to have a complete driveway design approved and a permit applied before you can even get an address. A lot of times that driveway is the last part for what they're thinking about in terms of the home that they may be building.
Yes, so what we do right now in practice is we have a rural addressing request form. You have the option to if it's off of a private road, you don't want to sign a right-of-way permit, that's not required. So you turn in that form to our addressing office saying it's off a private road, and that completely bypasses my department. You can say if you're utilizing an existing driveway, you can then, check a box if you are proposing a future driveway. So in that case, we don't require any kind of design at that time. We require the property owner to submit a location of where they're planning. That way, the addressing department can assign an address in a spot. So if someone gets an address and then it's on a curve on the top of a hill where you can't see down it, it's in a not safe location, then before they get the address, we can review that location and say, hey, this isn't really a safe spot. You're not going to be able to permit the driveway here in the future. You need to move it somewhere else. So that if someone is not planning to construct their driveway at that time, then we just approve that location and then have a requirement that they come back later once they're getting ready to actually construct the driveway to pull right away from it.
On the distance between the driveway and the property line, I'll give you an example. The property I have a 60-foot width that I own off the road, and before it goes about a half mile, then it opens up onto the property. So with a 60-foot wide piece of property, are you allowed to put an entrance on that with your setbacks from the property line?
So we would look at when the lot was created. So if the lot was created or the easement was created prior to the regulations, then that's something that we would permit since it was already existing. But if a subdivider comes in and makes these 60-foot cuts off the road, where there's a driveway every 20 feet, then that would not be approved because it didn't meet the right-of-way ordinance that was in effect at the time. That makes sense. So if you've got a 60-foot wide piece of land that you own fee simple or easement and it's existing today, then you could pull a permit on that. But if you divided your land to have 60-foot frontage on the county road, then they would have to utilize shared access in order to meet that spacing. And we've seen that a lot in the council, these central station subdivisions, they'll come and do a lot of splits off the county road, so in a half-mile stretch, we'll have 20 driveways proposed. And so utilizing the spacing that has already been adopted, we've been able to reduce driveways.
Yeah.
I'll add that a lot of these amendments are something that as I work with developers or property owners, that all redline in our existing right-of-way ordinance. Anytime that there's an issue or a loophole or anything like that. So the amendments to this document are notes that I've kept track of since it was amended about a year ago.
I'm going to make a motion that we take no action on item number 10 today. Give us an opportunity to address, at a minimum, that TIA section, and then also, some of the other issues that were raised by public that we can review and consider. So let me shorten the motion. My motion is just to take no action today on that item.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Everything I said after that was just the rationale for that motion. And then I guess based on the work that is done, if there's like major substantive changes, we may need to have another public hearing. If it's just some minor, very minor, I think, drafting changes, then we would probably need to do that. But the public will still have an opportunity to comment next time it's brought before the commissioner. So any other comments or discussion on the motion or on this item generally?
I think we need to make sure that we're looking at our farmers and ranchers in terms of their access, that we're not overly burdening them, especially when you have roads that have no fencing in the county and they decide they want to start turning off in a different area of the property, that we're not overburdening them with respect to regulations, but just trying to run the business.
That's a good point.
All right, any other comments or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melissa. We'll work over the next, I don't know how fast we'll be able to get this done, but we'll start working on getting some of these changes reviewed and addressed. Then we can make the determination if we want to do anything outside of that as far as having other personnel look at it. Item number 11, consider approval of professional services agreement for clerk services in the district clerk's office.
Good morning. I included the professional service agreement in the packet, but I do have copies if you need it, so just let me know. The service agreement is between the county and within the district clerk's office and with Mary Loeffler, who used to be in the district clerk's office as the chief deputy, where she'll be helping my office with scanning as well as any other needs that are listed in Exhibit A of the service agreement. I would like for this professional service agreement to be approved today and signed today if possible, preferably. The funds will come out of budget line item 10.423.4709, which is other professional services. And I have in that budget line item right now $20,000, and she will, within the contract, it states that she will work no more than 24 hours a week at a rate of $28 an hour.
You have the contract running through the end of December of this year.
Yes.
There is a non-appropriation provision in the contract, but you just have to be aware that that'll be your next fiscal year. And so if there's not money appropriated in your budget for next fiscal year, that from October 1 until December 31, you may not have the same amount of money available. I guess it's just, I'm giving you sort of a,
Yes, sir.
making sure you're aware and acknowledge.
Budget time.
Do you expect her to work in the office? I mean, some of the training stuff I assume would be on site, or is it all going to be on
It's
site?
gonna be all on site. And I do have a spot for her. And the equipment's already there.
And she had retired. I mean, what is the need for the contract labor up there?
It's for any sort of training purpose for some people who are still learning within my office. It's also for some backlog, there's tons of paper that's still within my office. That I'm trying to get scanned and but then me doing my administrative duties as well as my prep duties. I can't get to all of it in time, so she's there to help.
You've reviewed that contract?
Yeah, I wrote it for other uses. It's the same one we've used for, I think, is that the one that you used for Mary Lynn? A couple other offices have used it. The only thing that's really substantially changes is the exhibit, which is the specific to the work that's going to be done in the rate. Do we need a cap on this? I mean, if you run this, do you have enough budget to carry this through the end of the proposed, if she worked the maximum hours?
I should, it was discussed at, budget time when it was, discussed that if I needed more, I could come back and request that to the court.
Do you have a vacancy? Do you have any vacancies right now?
We do have one.
Any other questions or comments from the
Any
commissioners?
questions?
The money that's in that line for professional services, was that budgeted for a specific, was it budgeted for this purpose that was discussed during budget? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Anything else that comes out of that budget?
Besides professional services.
I just meant, were there any other individuals that you expected to pay out of that for
No,
this?
use it for line item for like code five.
Okay. Any other questions or a motion?
I'll move we approve the professional service agreement for the clerk's services to be performed in the district clerk's office.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And I will give a copy to Nancy, unless you need the original in your office.
I think that Lindsay knows the one that needs.
Okay. I'll give it to you.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we, I think we have our new CV Bay manager. It looks like they're fixing. Can we introduce her real quick?
Sure.
Ms. Stout? Ms. Stout, are y'all fixing to leave? Oh, she was grabbing the bench and fixing.
sorry.
no, I was just
sitting on
Well, my question is do you mind introducing? Looks like we have somebody new here and I'm calling you out because I know you. But, not being mean or whatever, but if you don't mind, I apologize it took us this long in court, but please, ma'am.
Oh, good morning. We're here with the CDD, and I don't know if y'all know we're without a CEO for about 6 months, but we have a new CEO. We're very excited. And this is our new CEO.
And I'm sorry, you said it very quietly and away from me. So
Oh,
for us deaf people, Miss
My name is Lisa Olivera.
Oliveira.
Yes.
I won't remember that, but welcome.
It's okay. It'll remind you.
I'm so excited to have
Very
her.
excited.
She has such experience, handling great destinations as a CEO. She's gonna be a great asset.
Great.
Excited. Yeah. Look forward to
Welcome.
working with all of you.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay, item number 12 is consider receiving and accepting the resignation letter of the Gillespie County Constable for Precinct 4, Marshall Aiken. His letter is in the packet. It was delivered to me last week. This is our opportunity to formally accept that. Upon doing so, then the resignation is essentially, he's committed, he cannot revoke it at that point. So, and I made him aware of that last week.
I move we accept the resignation of Marshall Akins, Constable for Precinct 4, effective May 16th, 2028.
Second.
2026.
May 16th, 2026.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I have worked on a posting, essentially soliciting. I've gotten 2 phone calls, or 2 individuals have stopped by to inquire about the appointment for this position. But I have prepared a draft of a notice, essentially soliciting. It's very similar to the one we had posted for the county treasurer when we made that appointment. Because of the timeline, I was trying to compress it and maybe have them due by next Monday or Tuesday, and then see if we can get something done ASAP related to that. If we, let's take a quick break, and I'll get that draft in my office so y'all can look at it and make sure y'all are okay with it. And then, if so, we'll put it on the website today.
I appreciate the break, Judge.
Okay. All right. It's 10:36 a.m. It's 10:36 a.m. We're going to take about a 5-minute break, recess.
We're going live.
All right, 30-second,
Lindsay,
30-second warning. You press red, it's not working. Press the red dot. All right, it's 10:47 a.m. We are going to reconvene the Gillespie County Commissioners Court. We're still discussing item number 12, which was related to the resignation of the constable in precinct 4. As I mentioned before the break, I drafted a notice which explains the process. It states the current annual salary for the position. It invites interested applicants to submit a letter of interest and a CV or resume to the county judge's office. That can be done in person or by email or regular mail. And they have to submit those by 4 p.m. on May 18th, which is next Monday. And then it also lists the statutory qualifications that are required for anybody that's going to serve in that role. As I mentioned also previously before the break, this is sort of the same template we've used for other circumstances where we've had an appointment process. I guess my only real question is if y'all want to keep the timeline that compressed or if you want to allow for more time. Constable Aiken will remain a holdover and we'll still be serving in that role until we appoint someone to success as his successor. So.
if we keep it compressed, I mean, we could still extend it out if we don't have
Sure.
credible, or I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but we can always extend it. So I like keeping it compressed. If they're interested, let's get going. If they're not, then
Okay.
that's my thoughts.
I mean,
That is your precinct. I should have spoken for you.
I'm a road and bridge precinct, not a constable precinct, so.
it's,
We are able to post it though. It doesn't say that.
well, I mean, it's just, I was just going to put it up on, out of my office. I just wanted to get
Okay,
input from y'all to make sure you're okay with that process.
I am.
yes.
I'll just have it on I'll get Raynell to post it on the homepage. Maybe put it on the HR stuff, but like I said, I've already had 2 inquiries from individuals, so I mean, the news is already spreading and people that are interested will probably, I think we'll be able to apply relatively quickly. All right, anything else on item number 12? All right, we'll move to item number 13. Consider designating miscellaneous items as surplus or salvage property and approve the disposition of those items by listing on GovDeals public auction. It looks like the list is all items from the county yard or mechanic.
Yes, sir, it is. And is there only gonna have one more item too?
Sure, you're talking about to your list?
I actually have a printed list. It's just item number 18.
Rather get rid of it now if we could.
That's 6 tires, used tires?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's the high bid on that gonna be?
We're gonna start cheap. Pay disposal fee that way.
Yeah, okay. All right, so the list is in the packet. There's been one additional item requested to be included in the, which is 6 used tires, not for on-road use for precinct 3.
I move we approve the designated miscellaneous items as surplus and or salvage property and approve disposition of said items by listing for public auction on gov.com deals, including the additional number 18, item 6, used tires from precinct number 3.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, sir, for hanging in there with us.
Item number 14, consider approval of a proposal from Schaefer and Schaefer for elevator inspections on the Gillespie County Jail elevators. The proposal is for 2 inspections at $149.50 each, for the total being $299. That's for the county jail elevators.
I'll move we approve the proposal from Schaefer and Schaefer in the amount of $299 for inspecting 2 elevators.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 15, consider approval of the purchase and installation of upfitting equipment for Sheriff's Office patrol vehicle and payment of invoices for that upfit.
Okay, so what we're looking at is getting the final 3 trucks outfitted that we moved from Maltech to Napai. So I did email the different things that we were doing. If you'd like a copy, I can get you a copy as well. But we have 3 invoices that would complete the 3 trucks. It's going to be 1 invoice, number 3441-3. That would be for $6,694.08 for 1 truck. And then for a second unit, it would be invoice number 3448-5 for the amount of $23,038.28. And then invoice number 3 would be number 8873-2 for the amount of $19,941 for a total amount of $49,673.36. And this money will come from our Senate Bill 22 funds that we've set aside already for trucks. So what we're looking for is to get the approval to move forward and then to pay them once we receive the trucks.
Sheriff, I'm assuming the differences are that somewhere in different stages of being upfitted when you
So
took them away. I mean, what is the difference?
So the 3 that we're talking about have not been at all touched. We do have some of the equipment. That's why you might see some of them lower than the other ones, because we have certain equipment already in our possession and so forth. But the higher ones basically have not been outfitted at all whatsoever. And we don't have the official equipment for those other than once we get the approval. So what we're looking at is that they're hoping once we get this approval that we'll have those 2024 trucks that should be out in 2025 completed within the next 2 weeks to have by the end of the month. So we are currently operating 2 of those 5 on the streets that have been completed, and we've managed, that was what we paid for, the difference in Maltech, what we owed them. So those 2 trucks are actually running, but we have 3 that are still not outfitted yet.
And then what about the 5 from this year? They're out there? They're here?
The 2 this year are actually on patrol running around right now. They're actually busy today. The other 3 are currently sitting at the Napai shop where,
But we got, some of them were sitting in the shop for a long time, and then we got a new batch.
yes, those are currently sitting at Napai based on the Don
Okay.
Ringler agreement that they were going to be turnkey. So
Okay.
Napai will be working with Don Ringler Automotives to complete those, but that's already been paid for, taken care of and everything.
So we're really just still tying up the old units.
Yes, sir. We're tying up the original 5 that we got approved, I believe, back in March of last year, maybe April of last year. Yeah, we're ready to get them on the street. We have 2023, 2024s that probably have less than 1,000 miles on it because they're not outfitted, so yeah. But they're out there. We're just ready to get them rolling.
I move we approve the purchase and installation of the upfitting equipment for the sheriff's office in the amount of $49,673.36.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 16, consider approval of an extension of the MOU between the Sheriff's Office and FISD for the school resource program for the summer.
So the school asked if we could extend the use of our 2 deputies, one for the Fredericksburg Primary School, which is Wayne Hudson. He's already assigned to the primary school. It would be from June 1st, 2026 through June 25th of 2026. And it'd be hours of 7:45 to 3:15 p.m. And then the Fredericksburg High School would be Preston Schmidt would be assigned to the high school for that same time frame of June 1st through June 25th, same schedule hours. Basically what they would do is we already have an MOU for the amount of $58,000.00. They would add an additional $2,700 for that time frame, which would give us a grand total that we would then bill the school district for $61,500 total amount that we would get a check from the school district at the end of that month of June. And that would still give us August to utilize those deputies on the street during that time frame. But I think it's a good continuation of our working efforts with the school district.
And you said August. What about July?
So July, I'm sorry, that's not July, but yes, July and
Okay.
August. But I know that by middle of August, school starts again. So basically we would have that. They would have them until that middle of August when school started again. Plus they will be doing, for SROs, it's really hard to do any training during the school year, the 9 months that they're in school, because their job is to be there during that. So we schedule a lot of update trainings for SROs, mandated trainings for SROs. And then there's a conference that these guys will attend that keeps them up to speed, up to date on all the mandatory state required for school safety and for school SROs to have. So they will be doing training within that time frame as well. So. And I did talk to the school that if you approve it, we will do an addendum to add that amount onto the original MOU.
Do we need to add the dollar amount to that or just the MOU to the motion?
Do you have, is that amount that you stated, the amounts you're expecting them to compensate?
Yes, sir. So they'll add an additional 2,700 to the 5,800, which would then put us billing, which I gotta get with Marcy to figure out what we need to hand them so that they can actually pay us. So the total amount that they will pay us at the end of that pay period will be $61,500 that they'll be writing a check for it from the school district to us.
But all we'd be approving now would be the additional 2,700.
27, yes, sir.
2,000. I move we approve the extension of the memorandum of understanding MOU between Gillespie County Sheriff's Office and Fredericksburg Independent School District for services for 2 school resource officers in the amount of $2,700.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You still have a job, sir.
Thank you for last, I appreciate it.
What do we have left? Just consent?
Yes, sir.
All right. You do have one public comment for item number 2, which is the consent agenda. That's routine business items the court will act upon in a single motion unless a member of the court wants to pull an item for individual discussion. Mr. Knightsky, do you want to make your comment?
Yes, sir, I have a comment on that. What I've discovered is that there's 15 fund balance accounts that have not been properly updated in over 6 months. And the total amount of funds in those accounts that have not been properly updated are $7.7 million. I have $7,774,642 in those accounts. And now I'm not saying that anything has happened to them, but the accounts have not been updated in over 6 months. And so I would ask, have you had a chance to update those? Have you ever had a chance to look into these?
Where are you seeing that they're not updated? Are you like on the online reporting that you're seeing, or where are you getting that information?
Well, I have through a FOIA, we received
Okay.
fund balance information.
Okay.
And it's concerning in that one of the accounts that shows no activity was account 61. That's the GOB Series 213 jail project. So it's not showing any revenues or any expenses. And also another one of concern is the 37, and that's the pretrial intervention fund. That shows no activity, and that showed no activity for several years. And so I'm just wondering that there must be activity, it's just not being reported, is what my understanding is.
Yeah,
So I'm just bringing it to your attention. I'm not making any other statement.
I'll let county attorney make, if she wants to add any comment, but the pretrial intervention program was not essentially being utilized until very recently. And so that account probably should have been stagnant until very recently.
Well,
So,
and again, I don't have anything in particular about it. I just noted that it had not been active. So that's, I'm not saying anything about it.
I agree with Judge Jones' comments that the prior county attorney had not been utilizing the PTI fund account due to, at the time, the Commissioners Court position that it was unclear on how the funds should be used, but this Commissioners Court has approved us using that. We are currently collecting pretrial intervention fees. We had one this morning come in. In fact, they're $500 at a time. And that money is going to partially fund my office now.
Okay, and so actually that points to the action. They're not showing any revenues.
Right.
Yeah, it's nothing being posted to your account. So there's actually more in there than what the account is showing, is what it sounds like.
I can't speak to how the reconciliation process goes or how, I don't even know if I'm using the right terms, but we are reporting it how we are required to report it. And when the new budget cycle comes about, all of those numbers will be available.
Okay, thank you, guys. I just wanted to bring it to the court's attention. But also, so you've never, has the Commissioners Court ever reviewed any of these accounts?
I mean, what do you mean reviewed?
Okay, so under Texas Local Government Code, section 115.022, examination of accounts and reports settlement, it states that each regular term, the Commissioners Court shall examine all accounts and reports that relate to the county finances and shall compare the accounts and reports with the accompanying vouchers. The court shall see that any errors in the accounts and reports are corrected. And so I'm just asking, is that in process?
I'm reading that section. I'm not sure exactly what it's referring to. I mean, we get the expense reports, some of the stuff that I started putting in the agenda packet for today's meeting. We have reports up here, which are, most of these are duplicates of the things that are in the packet. And so, and then the orders, I guess that's supposed to be the orders from the court to make those payments. So I'm not sure, a lot of this financial stuff, the way that these statutes, the way that they're written, it's not, I don't know that our process, and it's not just us, I don't know, so I'm trying to figure out exactly what that's referring to.
Okay, and yes, and I do have one final comment on adjourning of the court. There's unfinished business before the court in that the treasurer did not present any books last month, and did not present a detailed report according to 114.026. I would suggest that since it did not occur, that at least be logged as such in minutes. And that's all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. So the 114026, that's the one that requires the affidavit. Is that what you're referring to?
Oh, yes, well, that's also, yeah, we discussed that last Friday.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I started working on that last week, trying to flush that out. So I know we have a history of signing those affidavits. I just haven't been able to determine recently what we have had. So I appreciate your comment. We'll keep working on that and get you an answer.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, anything else on consent agenda?
No, sir.
I move we approve our consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Anything else, commissioners, before we adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned at 11:08 a.m.